You own up to it right now. Yes, Cheddar, you tell him. You tell him what. You tell the people what he did.
Hey everyone, welcome to We Need a Road, and yes, this may be the second time we've recorded this because someone may have, being me, may have forgot to push record on my mic. Are you happy now, David?
Yeah, I am. Yo, Cheddar's very happy because he started humping my arm as well. So you've incited both of us.
Well, be quiet and let him finish. So, hi and welcome to the second take of the We Need a Road podcast, episode number 30. And this is going to be a podcast filled with human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. And as a special one-off, this episode's quote comes from one of my favourite films of all time, which is Ghostbusters, directed by the late Ivan Reitman, who has sadly just passed away recently. Reitman was known for his bawdy comedies in the late 70s and early 80s, films such as his debut Meatballs in 1979, followed up by giving Bill Murray his screen debut in 1981's Stripes. Now, after the success of Ghostbusters 1 and 2, he'd go on to work with Arnold Schwarzenegger on 3 Big Arnie films in a row, with Twins, Kindergarten Cop, and Junior. Was that a big film? Maybe. Anyway, although his directorial output lessened in recent years, in fact, he only directed 4 films in the 2000s at all, which was Evolution, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, No Strings Attached, and Draft Day. Reitman was still a prolific producer behind the scenes, producing films such as Eurotrip, which is still so bad it's good, and it's one of my favourite guilty pleasures, and it's got that great Matt Damon cameo, and of course, it's got that one-hit wonder,
Scotty doesn't know that the younger and me did it in my band every Sunday. Wait, did it in my van every Sunday? I got the lyrics wrong, but you can continue.
Yeah, and Reitman also helped produce a lot of Will Ferrell's early 2000 films. So, I mean, if you look at a film like Old School, that's really a kind of modern-day version of the type of films Reitman was directing himself back in the late 70s, early 80s. So maybe his last released film as a producer was the most bittersweet, as he got to produce the continuation of the Ghostbusters franchise with Ghostbusters Afterlife, directed by his own son Jason, which was generally really well received by the fans of the franchise. And at the time when that came out, it was quite a bittersweet film because it was a tribute to the late Harold Ramis. And literally, you know, a few months even after that film was coming out, after Ghostbusters Afterlife has come out on DVD and digital now, unfortunately, Reitman's passed away as well. At least his son's got that right. I mean, you worked with your old man on the same film that launched his career. It must have been nice for him to work with his old man in that capacity on that film. And, you know, to have that to look back on, you know, I'm sure they look back on it. They don't look back at it as a sad time. They look back on it as it was, you know, that was a great time. And if you've got to go, at least they had that time making that film together right before the end. I will say, I did post on Twitter, Ghostbusters was a seminal film for me growing up. And I just missed seeing it in a cinema because when I was a kid, even though it was a PG, I was so young that the cinema worker said to my dad at the time, it might be a bit much for me. And do you know what, David? He was right. Because I saw this on VHS on some dodgy copy, probably like 6 months later or a year later. Because people in the old days had to wait for stuff. None of this, it's in the cinema and then it's on your stream like a day later. No, we had to wait half a year or a year sometimes to see a film a second time after it had been in the cinema, man. When I finally saw it, yeah, that scene with the ghost in the library at the start, still to this day, doesn't scare the living piss out of me. But even though I know it's coming, I'm still like, huh.
Yeah, it's a frightening thing. The first time you see it, it's you know what, it sets that film up as what you think is going to be a fucking scary ass horror film straight away, and it leans into its comedy.
And that was one of the things that people kind of didn't like as much about Ghostbusters Afterlife, that they thought it wasn't as funny as the original films, and it was a bit more of a family drama. But you know what? That's what that film needed to be. It needed to kind of be that. I think a lot of the negative reviews said it was fan service for the sake of fan service, and all the positive reviews were like, yeah, it's fan service for the sake of fan service. And you know, there were you can read online, there were so many people literally moved to tears by that film at the end. So if the film's doing that and it's coming from the right place, it can't really be a bad thing, can it?
That was a lovely tribute, and Ivan Reitman's reach and influence from his brainchild has spread across the genre. And the influence on yourself alone, was lovely. And
cheers, man. Well, like I said, we used to play Ghostbusters in the playground at school. We'd stand there with sticks and our backpacks on, pretend they were proton packs, and we recite that end bit of the film. And no one wanted to ever be Winston.
Oh. You bunch
Oh,
of.
good God. I've got a phone call coming in, mate. One sec. This is bizarre. It's not like a guest in the show or something. My mum's ringing for some reason.
Right, I can't get in. All the doors are locked and I didn't take my keys.
Okay, we'll come and let you in. No worries. So, coming up in this episode, we have news. And in our news section, we're going to be talking BioShock, which is being developed into a movie at Netflix. Fallout, yet another brilliant video game coming out as a TV adaptation on Amazon. And we're going to talk about the Oscar ceremony being dicks. Yes, that's right, Cheddar. They're dicks. We're going to do trailer reactions. Yeah, clearly David's dog.
Disclaimer. I've got him. My partner's not here to look after him. So he's in here. He's joining us. He's currently humping my arm and chewing on my jumper in an attempt for me to try and keep him quiet. He's a 5-month-old sausage. He's a beauty.
So next up, in our trailer review section, we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange 2, Jurassic World Dominion, and Nope. Also, in what we've been watching, David's going to talk about a talking penis in Pam and Tommy for hopefully not too long.
Yeah, man, it was glorious. I loved it. He had a little mouth and everything. You know what? We'll get into it.
Yeah, you get into that penis. And also, we're going to have some quick reviews of Moonfall, Death on the Nile, and Uncharted. Have you literally just sent me a photo during the podcast?
Yeah, of Cheddar.
Well, we will post that along with the podcast. Is he eating something? That's your arm, isn't it?
He is. It's my arm. He's eating my arm.
And to round off the show, I'm going to be talking Season 1 of Reacher on Amazon Prime.
News.
So, first up, we are going to be talking BioShock. Now, BioShock is one of the greatest cinematic video games of all time. I think we can quite...
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Atmospheric to a T.
Now, we actually don't know anything about the writer, the cast, the director, the production team behind the film yet. And all we know is that it's being made into a film, not a series. And it's going to be made at Netflix.
That in itself, that it's going to be a film and not a TV show, I'm happy about. Because fucking everything's a TV show at the moment. You don't see, like, this is the first sort of adaptation thing in a long time where it's like, oh, it's going to be a film. Oh, holy shit, they remember to make films still. Like,
I reckon, I mean, if they stick close to the first game storyline with, you know, the beautiful underwater city
the
of
twists,
Ratchet
man. Oh, the twist. Yeah. The first time playing through that.
Well, I think we can get a little bit into one of the twists because it was in the opening game trailer. Still to this day, mate, I remember the first BioShock game trailer that came out. And it completely wrong-foots you from a narrative point because it shows a young girl running away from a monster robot with a big drill hand. And the POV makes you think, oh, we're the main character there to save the girl from the monster. Because you then see like the guy's hands come in. And then we get a drill through the chest and die. And then as the monster approaches the little girl, it reaches out its hand to the girl and we cut to the title. That is pure cinema. It's like in that couple of minutes, it wrong-foots you on what you think's happening. And it's just like, oh wait, you're the big dude in the robot suit. It's just, mate, the whole underwater city of Rapture. Like James Cameron could have just chucked some of the years he spent making Avatar 2 underwater and just went, hey, do you know what? I'll spend 6 months doing some stuff for Rapture. It would have looked amazing, man. And the initial creepiness of their little sisters as well. It's just BioShock is really a game that demands to be on a big screen and have its cinematic universe expanded. And also, can you please give us BioShock 4? Because we've been waiting for quite a while for that as well. There is no current next-gen BioShock out there. So please, get on with that. You know, we need it.
I am David Long, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat on his brow? No, says the man in Washington. It belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican. It belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow. Fuck the man in Moscow. It belongs to everyone.
So what part of the BioShock history are you reading out?
I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. That's the opening speech, monologue, whatever you want to call it, by Andrew Ryan when you're going down in the elevator or in the little thingy to into Rapture the first time, and then you open up and you see Rapture, and it's fucking awe-inspiring. If they can get, like you mentioned, the cinematography, like fucking decent shout with James Cameron. If they can get this done, get the atmosphere of Rapture done well, done properly, yes, it is going to be something special. If it can be done.
I think it'll be done. I mean,
it can be done, obviously, but if it's done well, like if it's done properly, if it's done how we want it to be done,
like everything, man, it comes down to story, and the game has got a great story. So, basically, don't fuck it up. That's what we're saying. And give us the fourth game as well. And from one of the greatest video games of all time to another brilliant video game that's being adapted, but this time for TV. And yep, we are now going to get a small screen adaptation of Bethesda Software's iconic Fallout series, which is going to be heading to Amazon Prime Video. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the world of Fallout, there's been 4 and a bit games, because the last one was this kind of live one that wasn't very great, and it's still not very good by the sounds of things. The world of Fallout is a future-set story, but a future where nuclear war happened in the late 1940s, and those lucky enough to get to a bunker called a vault were frozen and then woken up around the year 2077. And they woke up, David, to a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland filled with super mutants, killer robots, rad scorpions, mutated ghouls. The first time you see a Deathclaw, it's brown pants time.
It is brown pants time. Were they frozen? I don't remember them being frozen. I just thought they sort of generationally... No, I thought they were just left sort of generationally to, just live under there for a while until it was time to,
I think some of the vaults did, and other vaults they were frozen. Because I remember in Fallout 4, the last main game in the series, your character, it all kicks off because your character wakes up.
Oh yeah. You're right. Because he's the one that I can remember the scene where he's escaping the nuclear bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that thing in Fallout 4, he's searching for his son. Because his son gets taken away and his wife gets killed, and he sees it all but he's stuck in the thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's your setup for the film right there. Just go by that, right? And the show is being adapted by executive producers Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher, and his wife Lisa Joy, and they're known for Westworld and a severely, severely underrated Person of Interest, starring Jesus. Well, James is evil.
Starring Jesus?
Starring Jesus. Jesus Cavazviel. Or Cazeville? But they're only exec producing now. Where they've been show running these shows, the actual showrunners on this show are going to be Geneva Robertson Dorrit, who's primarily known as a screenwriter, but she did the rewrite on 2018's Tomb Raider, and she co-wrote Captain Marvel. So currently she's writing Star Trek 4 and Gotham City Sirens in development. So she's on the up. I quite liked the 2018 Tomb Raider, and Captain Marvel was okay-ish to good. But co-running with her is experienced TV producer Graham Wagner, who has worked on The Office. He also did Zach Galifianakis' underrated genius show Baskets. He did iconic...
I thought you were going to be in between two ferns.
No, he did Baskets, which is also brilliant if you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
Baskets is really bizarre and funny. He also did the iconic hipster piss-ripping comedy Portlandia from Fred Armisen and Carrie Brownstein. That's really good. And most recently, he worked on Silicon Valley. So I think you've got a good amount of experience between the team there, between all 4 of those. It's heavily rumoured that Nolan is going to be directing the pilot of the show, and the first actor to sign up is The Shield and Justified's Walton Goggins, who is a great choice for pretty much any show. However, there's a Deadline.com article that says he's going to be playing a ghoul.
Pause, mate. Sorry, hang on. I need to go. Cheddar needs a shit. I need to go and let him for a shit. But you can continue this, and then I'll come back. I promise.
Well, dear listener, right now, David's taking his dog outside to have a shit in the middle of the podcast. I could just hear David yelling the word poo, go for a poo. I sincerely hope he's talking about his dog Cheddar, because otherwise... Well, I mean, the good thing is we always do this pod remotely. I'm in my house, David's in his house, and we've never actually recorded it live together. Mainly because I don't want to see him pooing everywhere, because I'm hoping that's the dog and not him.
I'm back.
Did Cheddar poo or did you poo?
He didn't poo. No, he had me out. He had me on. He wasn't even downstairs. He was in the bedroom. I went down to let him out for a crap, and he comes running from the bedroom. But I've given him a chicken's foot, so hopefully he'll calm down. Have you seen chickens' feet? They're fucking weird-looking things.
Anyway, David, before you took your dog out for a shit that you didn't need, and he came running from your bathroom, from your bedroom with a chicken's feet.
Yes.
We was talking about Fallout.
Fallout, yeah. No,
and how
to?
Walt Goggins. I got to how Walt Goggins is a great choice. He's the first actor cast in the show, and he's just a great choice. And he went, to be, and he's just a great choice to be your lead actor in any show. He was brilliant in The Shield. He was brilliant in Justified. And now, this is a funny thing, right? There's a Deadline.com article, and it says he's going to be playing a ghoul, which, as we know, is an inhabitant of the world that has suffered massive radiation. And in the game, mostly all the ghouls are just trying to murder you and eat your face. So
Yeah.
I don't
I
really
know. I can
how...
see him as a ghoul. I could see that as a. He kind of looks like a ghoul.
Wouldn't
just
you
like
assume
the-
Goggins would be the main character?
I could see him as a ghoul. Like I could. Well, why can't a ghoul be the main character, man? That's the whole thing that they're going for in the games. They want to be seen, just as everybody else. They're just fucked
God.
up with radiation and stuff. They're just ugly. Just because they're ugly doesn't mean they aren't beautiful on the inside.
But wouldn't you assume the main character of the show would be someone who wakes in a vault and slowly comes to terms with the new nuclear wasteland he wakes up in? Or she wakes
you
up
would
in?
assume that way.
That
That maybe
would
that's the
assume-
boring thing to do.
No. Look, don't start changing stuff, man. Like the reason these video games always fail as adaptations, right, is because people go, "Oh, that worked brilliant in the game, but we're not going to do it on screen."
Maybe I
If you
think I
change-
have less faith in this Fallout one than I do the
BioShock?
BioShock one. I think BioShock, just with the atmosphere, there's a lot more that can be done with it. But the showrunners, not the showrunners, sorry,
The team behind
the team
Fallout,
behind,
you
yeah,
don't
the
know.
team behind it.
Yeah,
Without that team, because
Westworld
Westworld,
and
sorry,
Person of
is-
Interest was really good.
Yeah, they were both. So without that, I would be really like not interested in this at all. I think it would be because it's kind of just like any other post-apocalyptic thing. There's nothing really unique about it aside from.
Yes,
the
there
ghouls.
is. Oh, yes, there
What's
is.
actually unique about it in terms of a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland?
Because it happened in the 40s. So you've got a futuristic thing, but but human society didn't get past the 1940s.
Yeah, but is that enough to really?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Okay.
I think that's a selling point. I think you've got a retro style. It's like if you took WandaVision, the first few episodes, and dumped it in the middle of The Walking Dead, and then put in killer robots. It sounds awesome.
Look, yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I can. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm on the fence with it. If I'm on it, I'm looking forward to the BioShock films.
For me, BioShock, it depends on who the team is behind it, and we don't know anything about that yet. We don't know. All we've got from Netflix is they're making it, and it's going to be a film. Whereas Fallout, they're a little bit further along now if they're casting like lead actors in it, and you've got that team of showrunners and writers behind it. So yeah, anyway, we've got BioShock and Fallout both in development in a minute. So will one of those finally be the great video game adaptation that we want? Well, actually, David, by then we probably will have had The Last of Us, which I think we're all hoping is going to be that first great video game adaptation anyway. Right?
No, there's been decent video game adaptations.
I don't mean decent, I mean great.
Hang on, let me think of one. I said that sentence and then I immediately couldn't think of a single one.
You immediately reverse ferreted.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Get to fuck.
Was that
And one of the
okay?
best films I've seen recently that was based on a video game was Werewolves Among Us, which I didn't know was based on a video game when I watched it. Because I just thought, oh, it's like Knives Out. There's a murder in a small town and everyone's a suspect except for one of them's a werewolf. And I really enjoyed it. It's on Netflix now. I think I told you to watch it before, David. Go and watch it. It's really good. It's short as well and it's very funny.
I mean, the Tomb Raider film's not terrible, I suppose.
Which one?
The
one written by the new
newest
writer of
one.
Fallout?
Yeah, the newest one.
Mate, what? Okay, when I say...
You know what?
Great.
The Warcraft film, that was quite...
No.
surprised me, the Warcraft. I genuinely enjoyed that.
Okay, look, David,
That was
you're
a
reaching
surprise,
there.
the Warcraft
Nothing you have mentioned is what I would class as great.
No, it's
Right.
not. It's not great, but it was quite nice. It was. I quite enjoyed the Warcraft film.
Great. The great...
Yeah, all right.
The
I'm
Last
trying
of
to
Us.
think of a great one. I'm trying to think. Let
Look-
me just, please let me.
Come back to it. We'll carry on, and if you remember one, come back to it. I don't want to hear you clicking on the keyboard, though. So do use your phone.
I'm gonna use my brain. My brain's
Oh,
capable of doing this.
David, the pod will be finished by then.
Hey, it can work this out. It can do it. Just let me think.
Anyway, right, we're going to move on from that where you have a brain aneurysm. And next up in news, we're going to talk the Oscars being dicks. Yes, also in news, the producers of this year's Oscars are a bunch of dicks, David. And why? Well, they seem to be more worried about fading viewing figures and media engagement across social media than actually presenting the awards. And they've decided that the first hours of this year's award show won't be broadcast on TV. Because apparently viewers do not care enough about the following categories: documentary shorts, film editing, makeup and hair, original score, production design, animated short, live action short, and sound. Films literally do not work without the above categories. The Oscars producers deciding that they are not important enough to broadcast is just a massive kick in the teeth to all of those masters of their craft. I mean, for me, the most egregious cuts are production design, literally the look of the film, original score. So you're telling me that when Hans Zimmer wins for Dune, no one's going to get to see his speech. When John Williams eventually gets his 6th Oscar, we're not going to see that speech.
Like the sound of a fucking film is so it's so fucking important to how the movie feels. Everything, the emotion that you're trying to display, fucking everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a piss take, right? That we're going to get soon-to-be winners over the next couple of years. Great emerging talents like Johnny Greenwood from formerly, I don't know if he's still in Radiohead or isn't anymore, but he's done some brilliant film scores over the last couple of years. And you've got Ramin Djawadi, man. I mean, this guy is a rock star, literally. He is just like Zimmer in that he does live tours, has sell-out concerts, doing all the music, and he's done so much music. Like, I guarantee you can't look at a TV show on Amazon or Netflix or anywhere, and every other show, Ramin Djawadi's done the music for it. When he wins his first Oscar, and he will, that isn't good enough to be broadcast. Also, mate, as a professional editor for over a decade, this is really some kind of bullshit when you think that you can rise to the very top of your industry and be recognised for your work, but a TV producer decides your craft is not interesting enough to warrant a few minutes of TV time. Also, I like to see you make an Oscars TV show without a fucking editor, a live edit, Can we just get the Oscars over to a streaming service now where advert consideration isn't a thing? I don't care if it runs 8 hours, as long as everyone's rewarded. I don't care how long the Oscars are. They need to be as long as they need to be. It should just be. I'm very angry about it, David.
They've made the decision to try and bring back more
TV viewers
because their ratings have just declined, right? No one, because literally, less and less people, ordinary people, care about the Academy Awards for whatever reason. I think maybe for dubious decisions in the past, where perhaps
it's a lack of diversity in the past, isn't it?
And loads of things. And people you just look at the viewers rate; it's fucking sliding off a cliff. So they've made this decision in an attempt to bring some of those people back. In that, look, it's not going to be as long and as boring. So let's let's do it. But because a big problem that it has, and it is quite boring to watch, right? It is this person, a celebrity comes up on stage, and the nominees are all of these, and then this is the winner, that person, and it's the same fucking thing over and over again, and it's like there's no personality behind any of it.
That's how award ceremonies work, David.
No. Whereas the Golden Globes, albeit not this year because they didn't fucking exist, but when Ricky Gervais hosted the Golden Globes, fuck me, that was entertaining. All right?
Yeah, but that's because the Golden Globes were a joke.
They know what they are, right? The Oscars, it's not ever going to be like that because they're so far stuck up their own arse. It's not going to happen. But there is, and they need potentially putting it onto a streaming service. Let's say just Netflix, for example. They have it and they host the Golden Globes. But and
it can be as long as it needs.
And it could be, people could just watch it whenever the fuck they want as well.
Exactly.
But will that be entertaining enough to sustain viewership throughout and not have a massive drop off after, Best Picture's been announced, which might be the last one. But you know what I mean.
Best Picture is the last one, though.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying, though? How can they sustain viewership throughout a fucking... How long is it going for? It goes on for 3 hours, doesn't it?
3 to 4 hours.
It's so long. I can see the reasoning why, how fucking stupid... It's bloody stupid to do it. But maybe just don't run through all the nominations, maybe? I don't know. How would you shorten it? How would you shorten it?
No, I wouldn't shorten it. I'd make it longer. Because I think there's categories... Yeah, longer. It's long, but even...
Even yeah.
So, like for years, people have been saying, there should be a best stunt work. There should be a best stunt work Oscar.
Yeah.
But that's another Oscar. And I don't...
Well, maybe not short. Maybe shorter wasn't the right word. How would you make it more entertaining?
Well, it needs better producers behind the scenes, doesn't it? Right? It needs better writers. It needs to be The problem with the Oscars over the last couple of years has been they have tried to, because of the viewing figures thing, and that's all it's become about. It depends why you watch the Oscars, right? I watch the Oscars because I want to see this. Here's the thing, right? The Oscars, as just a whole thing in the first place, my whole theory on them has always been they are there to promote smaller films that people otherwise wouldn't have gone and seen. Here's a film, here's an arty film, give it 7 Oscars, re-release it in the cinema, more people will go and see it. Those films then make money because of that. The Oscars very rarely ever award lots of
I'm telling you,
awards.
if Cheddar's had me on this time, I fucking swear to Christ. If he doesn't go for a shit this time.
Well, David takes Cheddar for his second shit. What I think the problem with the Oscars is, it's how you view them, right? For me, I want to see the smaller films that don't get enough attention rewarded. It depends what you want out of the Oscars. And I think there's always been this clashing forces when it comes to what the Oscars are over they need to be entertaining. People just tune in to see the celebrities. they're just tuning in to see what people are wearing. Versus, I want to see great filmmakers, artists at the top of their craft rewarded. I want to see, Thelma Schumacher-Powell, one of the greatest editors in the world, get another Oscar. I want to see the cinematographers rewarded. And you want to see these heartfelt speeches where these people have worked for years to get to the top of their craft and be rewarded for it. Now, for me, don't shorten that. Don't play people off. It's fucking rude. I just think there's so much has been made about, TV figures for the ceremony of doubt. Well, fine. Sell it to a streaming service. And then it can just be as long as it needs to be. Are you there, David? Or are you still having a shit?
No, I'm there. He had me on again. He's gone back downstairs again, and if he starts fucking barking again, I'm not gonna let him out. I'm not gonna let him bark.
And then he's gonna eat something of yours and poo.
He's cried poop too many times.
The dog who cried poop? Right, so any last minute thoughts on the Oscars, David?
No, it's 100%, it's ludicrous that they've decided to ruin these short fucking, even short film, like short animated film and all that. Like, there were so many good animated films that you're right in saying that there are sort of advertisements that, because how many short films have I seen that I would never have watched if it weren't for the Oscars?
Not just short films. I mean, look at Parasite.
Films in general, yeah.
The one this year that I can't wait to see. Right, there's a 3-hour Japanese romantic drama called Drive My Car that is getting all this attention, and it's an independent film from Japan as well. So it's really tiny as well, as I believe from what I've read, and it's up for Best Picture, which is great. There's this clash between what you expect from the Oscars. I think if you're in the industry or you're into that side of your film, you're like a film buff, and if you're listening to us, and hopefully you are, you want to see the top people at the top of their craft and see the speeches. You want to see that moment where an actor you like, or a cinematographer you follow, or a sound designer, or you want to see them at the top of their craft be rewarded for being, acknowledged as the top of their craft. And that's fine, and that's not for everyone. And people go, the speeches are boring, they're so woke, all that bollocks. Well, that's just down to people, right? The other side of the Oscars is, it's the viewing figures. People aren't watching. We need to jazz it up. We need to engage people with social. We need all that bollocks. And that is fine if that's what you're watching, if you're trying to watch the Oscars for. I know probably just as many people watch the Oscars to see their favourite celebrities, see what they're wearing, every question on the red carpet.
Are people there to see what they're wearing? Do people actually
There's a whole sub-industry.
Yeah, I know, but why? Why though? That is one thing I genuinely...
Because we're not those people, Dave. We're not those people.
That is one thing that I fucking never understood. Because these people who were out there wearing fucking Gucci... Like, these celebrities wearing Gucci suits or whatever they are, yeah. Or, like, a nice, beautiful dress, which has cost them a frightening amount of money, are also the same people that are like, oh no, there's people in Africa that are dying. But we're up here with our fucking ridiculously fancy suits, and everyone's asking us where we got this fucking suit from when we're advertising it. It's double standards, and if that's part of the ceremony, genuinely gets under my skin.
So what you're telling me is you skip the red carpet coverage?
Fuck yeah, man. It's a load of bollocks.
Okay, David, and as David started ranting, we're going to move swiftly on to our next section, which is our trailer reaction section. And first up, David, is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Wait. I thought of a good video game film, actually.
Okay.
Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Yeah?
I said good. I said great, not good. It's good.
No,
it's not great.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. It was good. I like that film.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't great. I'm not talking cinematic genius. I'm not talking a prestige TV drama. That
it was
Detective
it was a Pikachu that could talk. Hey, I'm talking here. It was a Pikachu that could talk, man. Who didn't love that? And it was Ryan Reynolds. It was Ryan Reynolds as a Pikachu. Yeah, you tell him, Cheddar.
Is Cheddar a Ryan Reynolds fan? Is what you're saying?
He loves him, man. He loves that Ryan, man. Deadpool, it's his favourite film.
Deadpool.
He loves, you know what? He loves The Proposal as well. He's a big fan of it.
Well, no one's perfect, David. And moving on to our trailers. First up, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And, well, shit. That was totally Patrick Stewart's voice we heard, right? That was definitely fucking Patrick Stewart. That's old Charles. That's old Charles. That's Professor X saying we should tell him the truth. X-Men to the MCU confirmed? ? Well, before we get to that, here's a little bit of a breakdown from the trailer. Now, that house and the stairway we see right near the start, that reminded me of the entrance to a little bit of the thing at the end of Loki with He Who Remains. So could we maybe have Kang in it? Or could it just be a Sinister Strange house from a different multiverse? As we know from the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers.
This is your spoiler alert.
Strange is in some deep shit for breaking reality. Quite a bit in Spidey. And basically, as you see in the trailer, he's copping a bollocking from Wong.
Yeah.
And
That
goes to see
part
Wanda
of
for
it,
help.
that part of the Spider-Man film with Strange did kind of all feel a bit like, why the fuck you doing this, man?
Yeah.
Why the fuck you doing it? I mean, I get that the film's gonna happen and stuff, but he weren't the smartest of doctors.
No, I mean, we thought then, didn't we, going into Spider-Man, is that actually our Doctor Strange?
Yeah,
And he was. But he's like, why would you be such a dick?
yeah, he was a bit of a silly man. He was a silly doctor.
Yeah. And then we get Mordo, which is great, because don't forget about Mordo, because basically he looks like he's going to be the reality police. And Strange gets arrested for breaking reality. A little bit like Loki did for breaking time. So I was like, it's a bit similar there, isn't it? A little bit
Yeah, we'll
similar.
see how it happens. Like, if they turn up and they're trying to wipe him or something, like, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
hopefully he can wipe himself, David.
I like it. You know what? Well done.
Yeah. We should tell him the truth. Yep, P. Stewart in the house. There are plenty of articles out there massively going into the depth about comic lore, about who Stewart could be in the film. But I'm going to ignore that, David, and I'm going to post my own guess.
Okay.
And I'm just going to guess that he's simply a variant of Charles Xavier from a different multiverse. There is a lot here, and apparently it is hinting at Marvel's Illuminati, who are basically a secret society of superheroes, and the inkling is that Strange fall fouls of them. But you know what, David? This has led to rumours that this Illuminati could be featuring a returning Hayley Atwell as Captain Carter, because there's a reflection of a shield from the What If animated show in one of the shots. You've got
there?
Mordo from the first. Yeah, there
What
is.
shot?
If you look
I
at
want
it.
to know the exact time code.
Well, you can look at it yourself afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's a shot in a reflection, and you can see Captain Carter's shield. So, ooh, Captain Carter confirmed, maybe. You got Baron Mordo back, and you can't have enough Baron Mordo. And also the big rumor, David. Have you heard about the rumors of the alternate Iron Man in it?
No.
Oh,
No.
you're gonna love
I
this
haven't
one.
heard
Okay.
of this. Okay.
Don't
tell
write.
me.
So in the comics, right, an Iron Man is one of the Illuminati apparently. So guess what?
What, Robbie
big
Downey?
name actor. No, it's not going to be Downey Jr. because
Okay.
But what big name actor do you think is currently being rumored to be playing the alternate Iron Man? And I'll give you one hint. He
Tom
was originally
Cruise.
considered. Yeah, it was Tom Cruise.
Hey,
Yeah,
I heard Tom Cruise was something in it, but I didn't know it was.
Well, it's not
to be
confirmed.
Iron
It's not
Man.
confirmed. Now, and from potentially some brilliant casting there with Tom Cruise in the MCU.
Your
do you remember the
disappointment
really-
when I got Tom Cruise straight away.
I know. I hadn't even finished. I hadn't even given you the tip of what it might have been. But do you remember that really terrible Marvel TV show, The Inhumans?
No, I never watched it.
Well, the main character from that is called Black Bolt, and he's played by an actor called Anson Mount. And there's rumours, I suppose, because in the comics, Black Bolt is one of the Illuminati. So they're like, oh, could he be in it? I was like, no, just leave that in the pits where that show. That was a show that made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. look good. Like, really good. That's how bad the Inhumans was. And of course, we got Patrick Stewart as an alt Xavier. I mean, people. I think it's going to be one of those double hits, man. Like, people are going to lose their shit. I wonder who you see first, right? You're definitely going to get Patrick Stewart first, and then you're going to have Iron Man, like Tom Cruise Iron Man, just like seconds later.
Well, if Patrick Stewart's there, where does it end with the X-Men link?
Well,
You know, is Hugh Jackman just going to rock up, or are we going to get, is he going to be in the end credit scene? Like, you're just going to get a bloke turn up and he's going to be like...
Well, again, strong rumours, is that John Krasinski is going to be Reed Richards for the Fantastic Four. And he's going to rock up at the end. And I think the thing is, everyone's expecting that. So the Tom Cruise and Patrick Stewart thing is kind of like, wait, there's more? And I think it may even make people forget potentially about, with all that stuff going on, it may even make them forget about the fact that, oh shit, he's in it as well. I still reckon Emily Blunt is gonna be playing the Invisible Girl in it as well.
Yeah.
Because she has downplayed the Marvel stuff so much, almost more than Garfield did for Spider-Man, right? So I reckon that's the last shot. They come over and join our multiverse, or they get moved from their verse over to our one. So back to the trailer. I mean, we could speculate on who's going to be in it for hours and hours, and people did. We see our Strange facing off with an evil version, and thanks to subtitles on YouTube, he's called Sinister Strange. And this hints that a lot of Strange's storylines from What If, the animated show on Disney Plus, could cross over into live action. We see Wanda fighting someone. That could be Captain Marvel, or could it be an alt version of her? Could it be Captain Carter? Could it be... one of the rumours is it could be Tiona Paris' character from WandaVision. And I forgot what her superhero name is going to be. But it's rumoured that she could be an alternate Captain Marvel, who we have in that scene as well. Also, David, there's a brand new superhero introduced in a trailer. Did you know?
Is it the lady that punches somebody at one point? In it, she's there and she's punching something, and it's like, and then there's a big colourful boom.
We briefly see America Chavez, who's a new character, making an MCU debut as well, alongside fighting what looks like a giant octopus. Wanda quite rightly says, well, what she did, she was seen as a villain for her actions, while Strange did exactly the same thing for even probably less consequences, and he was seen as a hero. Do you know what? Wanda's got a point. Strange fucked around, was a dick, broke reality, and she tried to bring someone back from the dead and enslaved the whole town, and she's apparently more of a villain.
I think that is fucking sexism right there, man.
Yeah? Well, that's one of the lines in the trailer, isn't it, man? She's like, wait, we did the same thing, and I'm the villain, but you're the hero. Chinny reckon. She doesn't say Chinny reckon. And also, I missed this in the trailer, but thanks to eagle-eyed screenshotters, you get a hint, David, of Marvel zombies. Yes, Zombie Strange near the end of the trailer.
What with the 5 arms or 6 like that? Is that the bit you're on about?
I think so. I'm not 100%, but a lot of people seem to think that. Now, mate, I love this trailer, and do you know one of the best things about it? Do you know what? It broke the mold from the usual Marvel trailers. It didn't have any jokes in it.
Oh.
It didn't. It was just all serious. They let Raimi go full horror, which is awesome. You always want to go full Raimi, man.
Well, they are like with the TV shows, like we mentioned, they're dipping their little toes into pretty much every fucking genre that they can come across. Then maybe they're hitting the horror with the film. Well,
there's the funny thing, isn't it? Scott Derrickson, the original director of Doctor Strange, quit over the tone of the second film because he wanted to go full on and make a full-out horror. And Marvel was like, no. But then they kept Sam Raimi, who is literally known for going full-out horror. Of course, you got to remember, for many, many years, Raimi directed probably the best superhero film for at least a decade, when he did Spider-Man 2, the original Spider-Man. That was, one of the greatest superhero films. It still is. It still is.
Up until like Dark Knight, probably, and then it's Spider-Man 2, or one of these Avengers.
Briefly, we saw that Rachel McAdams is back, and hopefully she's going to get something to do again, and hopefully she doesn't get fridged and killed multiple times over and over again, creating the evil alternate Strange, which I'm pretty sure we are going to get. I reckon, they'll sit down, they'll have a chat, because remember, I wonder if Vision turns up and tries to talk with him. Because Vision, White Vision was all like, oh yeah, I could fight you, or we could just, talk it out. So perhaps Vision will turn up. You never know. We forgot about White Vision, haven't we?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of shit that we've just forgotten that they're just going to come out of the blue with.
But I mean, the big two questions, David, from this trailer and for the film are we going to get the X-Men, and are we going to get the Fantastic Four? I don't think we're going to get the X-Men. I think we'll get Xavier, and we'll get a hint. Maybe we'll get like a little second teaser of something from X-Men, maybe. But I think we're going to get Fantastic Four in an end credit scene. I think you're going to get Krasinski and Blunt turn up. Someone will go wrong, and they'll get sucked into like the current continuity. But of course,
maybe.
you need the Thing.
But
Do you reckon they're going to go really, really super meta and have Chris Evans play the Human Torch?
Oh, that would be... Yeah, I've heard that somewhere, actually.
It was me just then.
No, not by you. I don't... No one... No, come on, man. A legitimate source.
Your mother's a legitimate source.
Someone... That makes no sense. But no, someone... I swear I heard someone say that Chris Evans as the Human Torch, that was a thing.
But I don't reckon, not like all again, just have him be an alternate Human Torch.
Yeah, just turn up somewhere or like just come into it somehow.
But yeah, man, that could be interesting.
The possibilities, like I love how they've opened it up to the possibilities where we can fucking mention that even happening and it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like not so far out of the realm of possibility. Well, David, all that and much, much more is going to be on, not a lot far away now, May the 6th.
May it be with you. That's the 4th, isn't it? Fuck.
Yeah, that's Star Wars. That's May the 4th, May the 6th.
I know.
Marvel have just...
Damn it!
Well, actually, David, coming up as we record this in the end of February, coming up on the last day of February, coming up on March the 4th is The Batman.
Where is she?
I'm putting you on the spot, David. Are you coming to see it on Friday?
The Batman, well, this Friday?
This Friday. It's out this
yeah,
Friday.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I will come and see it, yeah.
8:30. It's not a school night. Have a nap during the day.
Night. That's true. And
it's going into the weekend.
Yep.
I've booked my usual seat, which means the seat next to it is free.
I know. Yeah, you do always book on us late at a school night. It's. I don't know how you do it.
I don't think, mate. I think this is going to be the busiest we've seen the cinema since Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I think this will be the first time you've been to the cinema since Spider-Man: No Way Home.
I think
correct?
yeah, it will be. Yeah.
Right, book it. I'll let you Google now.
I will.
8:30 next Friday.
Okay.
Right, and moving on from The Batman, which we'll see and probably talk about a lot in an upcoming episode, Jurassic World Dominion trailer. The Jurassic World Dominion
Yes.
trailer. So, Jurassic Worlds collide. Get it? As it's the first time we get the remaining original cast of Laura Dern, Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum all back with Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt's new cast. And that's it. I can't remember. I think there's a kid in it. But anyway, all we really care about is the new OG ones, right? And Pratt and Sam Neill getting some good scenes together. That's all we really want.
Yeah, they do seem to they're like the trailer does tease that they're going to have some moments. They're going to have some points where they're going to have some of the same thoughts. Maybe going to finish each other's sentences. Maybe have a bit of bromance.
Maybe finish each other's sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And as we say,
isn't that from Frozen? Oh, that's where I know it from.
I've never seen Frozen, so I definitely didn't get it from there.
We finish each other's sandwiches. Jinx.
Oh,
Jinx
please.
again. That's the song, man.
I don't know that song, David. Thankfully.
Okay.
Anyway, we start off in the snowy Wild Wild West with Chris Pratt inexplicably herding dinosaurs on a horse. Okay. Do you want to see a film where Chris Pratt herds dinosaurs
rustling up some dinosaur, rustling up some cattle, having a nice little maybe that's the whole thing, maybe they're dinosaur rustlers. Maybe I don't know whether that dinosaur is good for its like milk. Maybe they're doing it for what is it? Maybe they've got some dino milk going on. They're farming up some dino milk.
Anyway, dinosaurs in the snow, so that is new. And apparently, since the last film, Pratt has been living in the middle of nowhere with Blue, who apparently has kids now.
Aww,
right? It looks like that's
I hope
Blue's
not
kids.
with him.
No, I mean that would be weird and a totally different film.
That's probably fan fiction on that.
It'd be like that thing from Alien where it's half man, half dinosaur, and it's like, kill me.
Yeah.
We have a big sea dinosaur pulling a ship underwater, and of course, dinosaurs marauding through a city. Always up for a big sea dinosaur, always up for seeing dinosaurs smashed away through a city. And then we have the return of Ellie and Alan. Apparently, Laura Dern can still not afford a proper shirt, because she's still tying that other one in. It's been, 30 years? Good God.
Buy another shirt, girl. God, what? God damn. That one must have, she must have such a good washing machine.
Right? It's not faded or anything.
Yeah.
And then we get the Goldblum telling us that we're all dumbasses, once again, for that seems to be his role in every Jurassic Park film.
I hope he has more of a role in this one, other than just being in court and being like, yep, Dinosaurs are back.
And also, we get Bryce Dallas Howard. Do you know what? I still cannot tell you what her character's name is, despite her being in 2 films. She's just Bryce Dallas Howard. Plays woman in distress.
She
with
is
bad footwear.
Wait. I think it's a short name. I want to go with Sam. I'm going with Sam. No, Cheddar doesn't.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah,
no, that's wrong. Definitely wrong. Well, we get to see Bryce. We're on good terms. We just call her Bryce now. Getting to practice some underwater breathing. So it could be quite a good scene. Dude, a giant pterodactyl eating a plane. That looks cool. Have we had giant pterodactyls before? We've had regular pterodactyls because one of them met that girl in the first one, didn't he? Remember the assistant girl? She got eaten.
Yeah,
the pterodactyl picked her up and then dropped her in the giant SeaWorld shark monster thing. That was cool.
In Jurassic Park 3, there was that one where they were all kept in that cage and then they were freed, weren't they? And there was
Jurassic Park 3 is just known as a dinosaur shit film where they ran out of money and they found a phone in some dinosaur shit. I did smile greatly at both Pratt and Neil saying "Don't move" at exactly the same time, where Goldman, of course, gets his "everyone's being a dumbass" line of "bigger. Why do they always go bigger?" Now, David, do you think the new trilogy of films have been a success overall, remembering that the original Jurassic Park is a classic for all time, and of course, both trilogies take place many years apart? Now, Jurassic Park 2 was pretty okay, and Jurassic Pile 3 was actually that. It was a pile of shit, which is what they found a satellite phone in. Now, with the new trilogy, Jurassic World was quite a big hit. But a lot of critics grumbled about it, you know.
It was a massive hit, wasn't it? It was
like
a top 10 film at one point.
But a lot of people grumbled about the characters, you know, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt's character not being a patch on the original cast, which I think I agree with because I still don't know their names. You know, Jurassic Park 1, Alan and Ellie.
Yeah.
I still don't know who Pratt and Howard are. Exactly, Cheddar. But do you know what? On repeated viewings, I've quite enjoyed Jurassic World, the first one. I think Fallen Kingdom, for me, I don't think it's as good, and I've only seen it the once since the cinema. It does have a great first half, with the evacuation of the dinosaurs of the island. I thought that was really well done. I was totally on board with it then. But then the whole DNA splicing and the last third of the film, dinosaurs walking in through fucking window, fell a little flat for me.
Well, in Fallen Kingdom, like the cloning with the girl and stuff.
Yeah, didn't need any of that. But David, is it just because we is old?
No, now, I quite like Jurassic World. I think it's done a really good job of bringing all like newer audiences into a beloved classic franchise, and it's done that. It's done it well. Jurassic World, it isn't Jurassic Park. It's never gonna be Jurassic Park, and I think it knew that, but still managed to create a very enjoyable, fun, entertaining film that is memorable. Characters might not be. You know Chris Pratt's in it. You might not know what his character
Who his character is.
No, you know what? That's going to annoy me. I do know it. I'm gonna go with
Sam.
Is it Sam?
I don't think it is. I'm not bothered. I'm that not bothered about it. I'm not even going to bother googling it. One of my best mates, Jamie, and my 2 godsons, Arthur and Sydney. Dude, they're kids. They love dinosaurs, right? And when they're old enough, I'm sure they're going to love the films as well. So I think it is literally just kids love dinosaurs. And so these films are always going to be successful. And I kind of like what they're doing. You know, we do a trilogy once every decade. That's fine, man. That's going to work. It's going to be cool. Do you know what's funny as well, right? This almost kind of mirrors...
If there's ever a time where dinosaurs aren't cool, that's not a time I want to be living in.
I don't want to live in that time.
Yeah.
Well, do you know the time? Do you know what the time where dinosaurs wouldn't be cool? If you literally were back in a Jurassic era, because you'd be eaten by like.
Even then,
really
they'd be cool, man. Even because nature
no,
now is because nature now is cool. You can't say you'd be eaten by a fucking tiger. Tigers are cool.
Anyway, but I don't even know how I continue from this. I was going to say it's funny how the new Jurassic World trilogy kind of mirrors the new Star Wars trilogy, right? And stay with me on this. J.J. Abrams did the first one, then stepped away with Rian Johnson coming in, and that one was kind of a bit more mixed. And then J.J. returned for Rise of Skywalker to finish his trilogy.
There was nothing
Jurassic
mixed
World...
about the second Star Wars film.
Some people really like it.
No, fuck some those people, man. The critics said it was brilliant. I watched it and it was utter dog shit.
Some people really liked it.
Did you like it?
And then it's okay. It's not the best Star Wars film. It's not.
It's no, man. No,
it's not the worst.
It was bad. It was bad. The good parts of it were the anything with Luke Skywalker in it and anything with Kylo Ren and Rey.
Look, we're not getting into a Star Wars discussion.
The saber porn in it was good. The saber porn in it was good. The rest of it wasn't.
Look, I was just trying to make the point that JJ stepped away for the middle film and then came back for the third one. And that's exactly what's happening with the new Jurassic World one. Colin Trevorrow did the first one, handed over the reins to J.A. Benoa for Fallen Kingdom, and now he's returning for the third part. So I don't really know.
But I didn't quite. Yeah, but what did we think of how Star Wars ended? That third film,
mate. That's a whole different podcast, and we haven't got time to get into it.
It was better than the second, not as good as the first, maybe, or the first wasn't fantastic.
I am abstaining on that. We'll do it when we do a Star Wars pod sometime. Because
to the list of never-ending pods that we want to do.
Exactly, yeah. And David, the last trailer. What are we going to talk about? It is going to be.
You know what? I've forgotten.
Nope.
Oh yeah, Nope. No. Oh shit, yeah, Nope.
And all I'm going to say, David, is this is clearly you're a big Jordan Peele fan. You're a peeler, as I'm going to call you. What the hell was that I just watched?
It was not of this earth, man. It was some scary ass alien shit taking out some cattle ranchers that were, it's actually a quite. I think it's it's an actual. It's based on real life, abduction. I say a real life abduction.
Careful how you phrase that one.
Like
an alleged,
a famous abduction story from America. And I'm quite cheddar. Can you please, buddy?
Right. Well, you dog whisper. So what do we know about Nope? It is Jordan Peele's third film as a director, following on from Get Out and Us. He's re-teaming with Daniel Kaluuya for the first time since Get Out. It's also going to be starring Keke Palmer and Stephen Yeun. Michael Wincott, who was the bad guy from The Crow, who was awesome in it. He has a massively gravelly voice, and he had a massively gravelly voice in the 90s, so I can only imagine how gravelly his voice is now for over 30 years later. He's literally the bit who stabs someone with a sword in the throat in The Crow, and the guy's like, and he's like, well, for fuck's sake, die already, and then shoots him. He's in it, so he's going to be awesome. And, yeah, as we said at the top there, not of planet Earth, so we reckon it's an acronym, don't we? Nope.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
aliens?
It's totally aliens, man. You could tell that Cloud was up to some sketchy shit.
Well, I mean, yeah. And do you know what? You do got a really good kind of Close Encounters X-Files vibe, don't you? With, like, the lights flickering out. And But, David, two more things for the Nope trailer. One, what's a bad miracle?
A bad miracle is any miracle. Because everyone wants one.
That's a rubbish answer.
I don't know. Like... There's some sort of philosophy there, like some sort of really good, wise answer in those words that I just said.
Okay, well I've got it. Surely a bad miracle's like a deal with the devil, or like a thing with a genie,
the monkey claw.
The monkey's paw.
Monkey's
exactly.
Paw,
that's what I was going to say. So you make it. You get something you think is going to be really good, and it's not. And you've been tricked into it.
I'm sticking with my any miracle one. The second you give one person a miracle, everyone out there is living in hope, and it's the hope that kills you. The hope of a miracle is the hope that drives people insane.
It's definitely driving Cheddar insane.
I know. Come on, buddy.
Also,
we're so professional. Come on.
I'm going to say, David, a supporting Oscar nomination for Wacky Inflatable Arm Waving Tube Man.
Those guys, yes. And that horse, the horse acting in this. The horse acting is going to be brilliant. There should be a horse Oscar. That should be a nom. Best horse acting.
Yeah, but I thought you just said the Oscars were too long.
Yeah, but if they're going to do it, put animals in there. That'll get people watching. Like best dog acting. That'll get there.
Okay, David. Well, we're now on to what we've been watching, and I've seen the first episode and a half, 2 episodes of the next show. How many have you seen?
5, I think that we're at the moment, or is there 7 that are out at the moment of Pam and Tommy? I'm up to date with it. It comes out every Wednesday, and whatever it is, I'm up to date with it.
I was about to say, and the show is
Pam and Tommy. Pam and Tommy. Sorry, the greatest love story ever sold, which I think was fantastic marketing. That phrase. Yep. The tale of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, the Motley Crue drummer, which I feel like you have to always say the Motley Crue drummer as to who, because everybody knows who Pamela Anderson is, but if you was to just say Tommy Lee, would you know who I'm talking about without saying the Motley Crue drummer?
Yeah, because I've got Motley Crue tapes from when I was a kid.
Okay, fair enough. You're old, but maybe for other people that wouldn't be the case. But which is actually touched upon in this is his whole like the fact that he's not as big and famous, or that he's that he's his influence in the genre and his money, and the fact that Motley Crue is waning to the new grunge scene that's hitting with Nirvana and Third Eye Blind, I think, makes an appearance.
Do never ever put the words Nirvana and Third Eye Blind next to each other in the same sentence, man.
Yeah, but
That's sacrilege.
no, because I say that because Nirvana and Third Eye Blind are mentioned in this show. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Third Eye Blind. It's the Third Eye Blind is the people that did "You Step Back from My Ledge, My Friend." That's them, right?
I don't even know what that song was.
Okay, well, anyway.
Third Eye Blind did a band that did Semi-Charmed Kind of Life. That was
Yeah.
It
It is them. So there's a scene where they're in it, and
they're
more
not grunge.
Influential than Motley Crue. They're getting more like stuff, and he doesn't take it very well. Which he's probably not going to take very well to me saying who the fuck is Tommy Lee without you saying he's the drummer from Motley Crue. But anyway, he's they were living the high life. They're living the sexy druggy party life of a rock and roll star and a TV idol. Meet and marry in 4 fucking days, which is bonkers, man. Fucking 4 days. Met and married. Me and you were in a long-term relationship, if that's the case. You know?
That's
we've gone to anyway. And then there's the infamous sex tape. Infamous isn't the right word because it's famous. It's not infamous. Infamous is for bad people. The super famous sex tape that comes out of it, of their lovemaking.
Anyway, yeah. So I've only watched the first 2, and they're actually barely in the first episode, are they? It's essentially just Tommy Lee being a dick.
He's pretty much a dick
intent.
throughout the entire thing. Yeah, Tommy Lee does not come off well in the film.
And yet, ironically, he thinks he comes off well in the show in real life, apparently, which just goes to show you.
Which, yeah,
he is.
Pamela Anderson, Lily, she comes off very well. She's depicted and shown as like, because she's living in a time where women are all sexualized, and she idolizes Barbarella, and there's a lot of that sort of the less influential, like it's a man's world kind of deal with a theme running throughout. And Pamela Anderson, even though I know there's a massive controversy with her not wanting this to be made in the first place, or not giving her consent to it being made, because it highlights the tape again.
Her story.
Well, just because it highlights the tape again, man. And if you watch the show, she just she's trying to stop the tape everywhere, and she's being stopped by men who are trying to control how she should live her life and her decisions, and how she should go about trying to at least mitigate the effect of what the tape is doing, But she has no influence and control over the matter, it's quite sad and depressing to watch. And the more you watch, like Seth Rogen's character is less and less involved the longer you go on in the show, and it focuses more on Pam and Tommy and their relationship and how they're dealing with everything. And it's really good, and unfortunately you don't get any talking penis after the second episode.
Well, you don't know that because you haven't seen all the episodes yet.
I haven't seen the last. Pretty sure it's the finale next.
Well, don't tell me anymore because I've only seen the first 2, but I am going to catch up on it. But I've just obviously been spectacularly busy.
I have been enjoying it. It isn't it's not this master stroke of a TV show. It's
like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
right?
it's 6 out of 10. I give it more than a 6 out of 10. I give it maybe a 7, borderline 8, because I am enjoying it. But it's not anything to really write home about. If you was to miss it and not watch it at all, you're not gonna, it's not a sad thing. The fact that fucking Disney did this in the first place, it's like, Jesus Christ, parents out there, make sure you've got a pin-locked Disney account. If your kids accidentally click on Pam and Tommy, you're gonna have to have the talk earlier than you think.
Talking penis.
Yeah, that scene. Fucking hell. I literally burst out laughing when he started talking to his dick. And his dick had his little mouth moving. It's lifting up and down. It's all prosthetic, man. That is one. The makeup of this is brilliant because the penis, like his penis. Unfortunately, ladies, that ain't Sebastian Stan's penis because it's Tommy Lee's. Tommy Lee had a rather nice looking member. He had a big dick. So unfortunately for Sebastian Stan fans out there, it was not his penis. It's all prosthetic. And same with Lily James and her breasts. It's all it's done really fucking well, really well. Hey, I'm trying to do a podcast here, Cheddar. Do you mind? But yeah, no, it's done really well. The penis. It's a good looking penis.
I think, David, you and our listeners have heard the word penis said enough in the last couple of minutes.
Sorry, I know. Sorry, that's on me.
That is a penis on you. Yes, indeed. So, moving on, I've actually been to cinema a fair bit recently, and so because we're a little bit behind on stuff and pods. First up, I'm going to be talking about a film, David, that you predicted to fail, and it did.
I said it would flop.
But
I said it wouldn't do very well at the box office.
And it did, but I don't care because I still enjoyed it to a point, and that is Moonfall, starring Samuel Tarly. I mean, John Bradley as well. Well, character names don't really matter in this type of film. Even the way through it, I was like, I don't know his name. He's just Samuel Tarly, and he's here to save us from the moon. Because, guys, the moon is hollow.
It's hollow.
It's hollow.
Oh man, what the?
Someone's making a big old hole in the moon, David. And
Who
it also
is it the Russians?
No, thankfully. But it also stars Patrick Wilson as a disgraced astronaut and Halle Berry to play the straight woman who delivers all the really boring sciencey dialogue.
Why did you have to specify that she was a straight woman?
No, I'm not talking about sexuality, as in her character's the straight boring.
She's like the straight talking.
Straight talking.
Yeah, I got you right.
Like John Bradley's the conspiracy nut who gets all the best lines.
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson's almost like like a cowboy astronaut kind of guy.
He's
like really
your
funny.
Salt of the Earth character?
Yeah,
that
he
I
is
said
the Salt of the Earth
was
character.
kind of I thought was dying off, and for some reason they're making an appearance again. Right?
Yeah,
okay.
you could put a cowboy hat on him, and he could give the exact same performance, and no one was blink an eyelid in this film.
Okay.
He's disgraced because at the very start of the film, something happens on a mission, and he gets the blame for it. And he sees something, and no one's like, "No, you didn't see anything. What are you on about?" He's like, "I did," and they said, "No, you didn't. You're crazy. You're crazy." And now you're a disgraced astronaut. That's basically his storyline.
What did he see, man?
Well, I'm not going to ruin the whole thing because I want you to watch it at some point.
Did he see a hole in the moon?
This film does exactly what it says on the can. It's the moon falling. Our three main characters have to save Earth from the moon. And yes, David, you were right. And the film, on box office terms, it was a bomb. Because it cost $150 million to make, and the last time I checked, about a week ago, it barely made $30 million back yet. But, yes, it is incredibly stupid, right? And in almost every scene, there is something that doesn't make a lick of sense, or the characters make the stupidest possible choice every time. After Game of Thrones, John Bradley said he had trouble getting work, because all anyone would ever offer him was Samuel Tarly again.
Is it because people keep referring to him as Samuel Tarly?
Samuel Tarly.
Like certain people on this podcast who have mentioned him as Samuel Tarly before saying his actual name.
Well, his actual name actually is, David, Casey Houseman, which is a terrible name anyway. But the difference is, though, he is legitimately placed as the star of the film, right? And you think in the... and that's one little thing this film does for representation, right? He's still quite a large guy, right? He's not your traditional Hollywood leading man.
Yeah.
You got Patrick Wilson there, but Patrick Wilson is more a supporting character to John Bradley.
Mm.
So it's good in that sense. And he said when he got this film, he was like, "I'm amazed. I'm actually in a giant, action sci-fi adventure, and I'm getting to basically play that character. I'm not getting, he does get to be heroic in it. The best thing as well the film has going for it, David, is he's got a cat called Fuzz Aldrin. Fuzz Aldrin,
nice.
David.
I like it.
Nice.
Fuzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Why not?
So,
why the second man and not the first?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a joke. Anyway, yeah, so as you said, Halle Berry's in it, and her character just delivers all the worst lines and exposition dumps. Patrick Wilson gets to have fun as a disgraced former astronaut. He's called Brian Harper. Yep, clearly a memorable name. And Do you know the thing is? You know when I say like we
I've
had this whole thing
already
about
forgotten that name that you just said.
Brian Harper.
Brian,
Yeah, I'd
okay.
forgotten it. I was ready. What was it? But the thing is, everyone involved with the film knows it's silly and cheesy, right? And when you're watching a film, right, if it's taking itself too seriously and doing all these things, you're like, it doesn't work. If a film is
Kind
stupid,
of like 2012.
but well, that's the same director. 2012. It's also stupid and funny, I think.
Was it? You know what? It's been so long since I've seen 2012.
There's loads. This is just 2012, but with the moon instead of water. And although there's lots of water in it again, this is almost like his greatest hits thing, right? Where you have, right? Can we destroy a city? Yep. Okay. Can we have a bit of wind? Yep. We can do stuff with wind. Okay. Can we flood somewhere? Yep. You can flood somewhere. Okay. Can we have a big action scene take place inside the moon? Oh, we haven't done that before. Yes, but yes, you can. I think. One thing I haven't actually mentioned, David, is as much as I enjoyed like the main couple of characters, it is this type of bad disaster movie where there has to be a really crap B plot, and it involves, of course, Wilson and Berry's kids trying to get to safety. And did you see the Gerard Butler one that came out last year, Greenland?
Yeah.
That was actually not too bad, right? Well, imagine the B plot where they're trying to get safety, but that whole film is just like a B plot with two stupid kids. I mean, there's a bit where a city gets flooded, right? And they're driving away from it in a car. So, obviously a car can outride a fucking gravity tidal wave, because of course it can. And
yeah, man,
I love the fact
that's how that works.
But I just love the fact they get to a certain point where they stop the car, get out of the car, and then watch it hit the city, and then decide to get back in the car and drive away again. I was like, you because then it starts coming towards. I'm like, what? The film needs those couple of slower scenes to pace it down from all the interplanetary destruction and awesomeness. What I do like, mate, is once the moon starts getting closer to Earth, you'll love this, because of gravity. Every time that the Earth gets closer on a rotation, gravity goes mental and people get sucked up into the air.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, and it's very funny. You know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it, David. Sometimes a film can be unbelievably stupid. I think if the filmmakers know this, and that is their intention, that people are going to go in and they're going to laugh at it, then that's what you get with a film like Moonfall. It's pure popcorn B-movie.
But why did
And
it
I think
fail at the box office, Neil? Tell me.
Well, not every film makes a shit ton of money. Marketing, maybe.
This
no big stars
wasn't
in it.
just a flop, though, man. This was it was a bit of a bombshell, right? Let's
Not
face
really.
it.
I mean, it's 30 million from 150. It'll break even, mate. Eventually,
Someone work out that. Will it? If it hasn't already.
Yeah. Because with COVID as well, man. At that point of the year when it came out, people were just starting to get back in the cinema again properly, weren't they? I think.
It came out around the same time as Spider-Man: No Way Home, and that.
No, Spider-Man came out before that.
Okay.
Spider-Man came out in December, mate.
Oh, okay, well,
This came out in February.
Okay, but Spider-Man's, made, I think it's like 7th in the all-time grossing films.
Yeah, but you can't compare Moonfall and Spider-Man.
Why
Because
not?
Spider-Man is because one's a superhero film, one's a disaster film.
Yeah.
One's got every
Is
big
that- is
actor
that-
coming
is
and
that
going.
it? Is disaster films, is that where it's not making any money anymore because disaster films aren't exactly in fashion right now? Yeah? They're not like
Yeah, you can argue that.
It's like 20 years ago, probably, where they were like the most fashionable thing ever, where they were ones, Armageddon, Deep Impact,
Independence Day.
all of those sort of films were they were the fashion big massive blockbuster films at the time, and then obviously superhero films came along, and
No, but you can and you can argue that the MCU stuff and the Disneyfication of big box office films has taken away from films like this. But at the same time, it doesn't have any big stars in it, does it? Doesn't have any stars.
that's what I said to you before. It doesn't have star power, and you said a film doesn't need it. This film doesn't need a big name actor to drive it. They were your
Well, it doesn't.
words in the last.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't as well.
But-
How many big disaster films can you name all the actors in?
Bruce Willis is in Armageddon. I know Elijah Wood's in Deep Impact for some reason. I can't think of the other main guy. No, Morgan Freeman is in Deep Impact.
Okay, but Look, yeah, I think you're right on a lot of the points there, David. But at the same time, it doesn't make it a bad film. I enjoyed it. If I'd enjoyed it,
No, I'm not negating that you didn't enjoy the film. You went into it. You thought you were going to enjoy it, and you did. I'm just asking you why it didn't make the money.
well, because it's not that popular. It's not that great a film, right? It's a good film if you know what you're going in for. If you're going in expecting MCU levels of special effects and disaster, you're not going to get it because, I mean, even though it cost 150 million, that's not a lot these days in the terms of these type of films, right? And without notable
You've got
names,
TV
to drag
shows
people
that
in.
got bigger budgets than that.
Yeah, exactly. But I was entertained, man, and I think having someone like John Bradley as the lead character was a great step forward in representation for chubby white guys everywhere. You know, you don't have to all be giant, muscular cowboys to star in it. And it was just, yeah, it was stupid. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was just under 2 hours. They did miss, the one thing that annoyed me, they could have had so many moon-based musical puns. I was sitting there thinking, are they going to play You Saw the Whole of the Moon by U2? Oh no, that wasn't
you
U2.
always
That's
have
the
a gripe when
the
it
water-
comes to the soundtrack.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't even remember the song on the end, man. But I was just like, okay, they could have done some. There's so many Moon River. Yeah, any song that had the word moon in it, you could have used in it, and they didn't.
How many nils out of 10?
6, just 6.
Okay, so that's 5 nils.
No, it's a 6.
Okay.
So next up in our review section, we have Kenneth Branagh's, and we have to say Kenneth Branagh purely because of Toast of London, and it's his second bite at playing. And David, can you pronounce his character's name yet? Because I still can't.
Who?
Hercule.
You just watched it. Hercule Poirot.
I know, but I still can't pronounce it. Do you know what I'm going to call him, David? I'm going to call him I'm going to call him the mustachioed Belgian investigator.
Okay, that works.
So, Death on the Nile is Kenneth Branagh's second bite at playing the mustachioed Belgian investigator. In Death on the Nile, which is another middle-of-the-road murder mystery movie. And unfortunately for fans, it is completely bang average. So, basic plot is Gal Gadot is the main it girl who quite rudely steals and marries her best friend's fiancé, played by Arnie Hammer, right in the opening scenes. And the newlyweds are then continuously interrupted on their honeymoon by the vengeful ex, played brilliantly by Sex Education's Maeve Wiley, Emma Mackey. Also, bizarrely in this film, everyone does accents. But not their own accents, which is really weird. So, you got French and Saunders in it, except Saunders is American. You got Rose Leslie in it, who is Scottish, but she's French. You got Letitia Wright in it, who is English, but she plays American. You got Arnie Hammer in it, who is American, but does some kind of English accent. And you've got Gal Gadot, who isn't capable of accents or acting by the looks of things.
Hey. You did not just insult Gal Gadot. No, she is... No. She is beautiful.
Do you have any other... Yeah, she's beautiful, but can she act properly?
Yes, she acts. It's
In
paid
what
a
film?
lot of money to act, Neil.
She gets paid a lot of money.
She gets paid more money to do one film than you'll probably earn in your entire life. And you just said that she couldn't act. Well, someone's paying her a lot of money to act, man. So she
No,
obviously
people are
can
playing her
act.
to look pretty on screen.
No.
Yeah. Because, David, when you
No,
see
I love Gal
her...
Gadot, man. She's beautiful. No.
Yeah, she was great in... Oh, what else did she do other than Justice League or Wonder Woman?
She
Oh, wait.
did that film that I watched the other day with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, great, yeah. So, yeah, that memorable film. Look, what I'm saying is she perhaps isn't the greatest actress, okay, David? And when she shares a screen with Emma Mackey from Sex Education, it's like night and day. Because she just gets acted off screen. When you see this film, you're like, Mackey, honestly, she is the star of the film, man. When you watch this, she's the one who comes out of this film. Because the problem is you've got so many different actors in it, right? And they don't really they get like a basic backstory. Like, right, they could be a suspect because of this. But her playing the deranged, unhinged ex from day one, and she's brilliant in it, man. She's just really, really good. I think we should put her in all the films from now going forward. And of course, the other big problem the film has is the Arnie Hammer problem. Because he was cancelled since the film wrapped, and then the film was delayed for almost 2 years. So again, him being, well, basically the male lead of the film, how much of his performance was actually cut? We'll never know. And
It's quite funny that you said that it's night and day between, because Gal Gadot was in a film called Night and Day.
The problem is, being a murder mystery, it's really not as clever as something like Knives Out. And I think Knives Out, although it was in its own way, was trying to be a homage to, you know, the classic Agatha Christie film, which this is. And I don't know, it's not kind of got the same cleverness and narrativeness. It's not got the same clever narrativeness in the script, this one. Having said that as well, I couldn't believe this, David. I did not realise Russell Brand was in this film, who plays Godot's former fiance. I did not realise that was him in the film until I saw the end credits.
Why?
So,
is he just unrecognisable? Is he a decent
Unrecognisable?
actor? Because that's an actor where I'd say is, you know, a man that can't actually act. Even though I love Russell Brand, I think I've seen his stand-up. But
I would say he gives a hey mate, if I didn't recognise him as Russell Brand, then he clearly gave a very restrained, normal acting performance.
Oh, wow.
You know, it wasn't like Brothers Grimsby. Yeah, I was just like, or any of his like character style films. He's in this film as like a side character, and he blends into the role so much I didn't realise it was Russell Brand. So for that, I say, well done, Russell Brand. So well, here's another big problem with the film. Right, is the look of the film, the cinematography. Now, it was originally planned to shoot on location in Morocco, but because of COVID, it was all filmed in England on a stage. So when you see, and it's got the same problem that you've picked up on a few things recently, it looks too clean, right? If you were filming out in Morocco, it would have, for never 1 second do you buy that boat isn't in the middle of a soundstage. It looks so digital and fake the whole way through.
Yeah.
And they look so
just
artificial.
missing detail. It's missing that dirt under the fingernails. Yeah.
Exactly. Them shooting on location would have massively benefited the look and the feel of the film. I don't think it would have made the film any better in the narrative sense, but visually it would have given it a bit more. You know, it's like when you look at Star Wars and you know it's filmed out in Morocco in a desert, and you get that, you can feel the grain on the lens when you're watching it, man.
Yeah.
One other thing I will say for the film is that I did like was, when the film starts, it starts with a flashback to mustachioed Belgian investigator in the old days when he was in the army. And I was like, have I walked into a foreign language World War I film? What's going on? Exactly, Cheddar. That's what I thought. And what it does, it gives us backstory on his character. And it explains why, David, he has his mustache, which I thought was very cool.
It explains, we get a backstory for the mustache.
The mustache gets its own backstory. Is that kind of
what that whole flashback was for? Just to explain the mustache?
I think so, yeah. Also, it probably gives Branagh a little bit of a chance to act.
Mate, that immediately takes the film from whatever you're going to give it to 1 point above.
Oh, well, actually, and as I said, for me, this was completely bang average. You know, it's entertaining enough. Some great performances, some okay performances. We're still never really going to know what the film was going to be because of Hammer and how much his cancellation and being cut from the film really done it. And actually, do you know what? I'm just thinking about the reveal of the killers and the killer or killers. It's got a whole screen for it. No, I said killer or killers.
Nah, because you immediately.
No, I haven't.
Killers.
I haven't.
You immediately went to killers over killer, which
well,
suggests
David,
that there's two.
There's more than. I'll put it one way, David. It's not a spoiler to say there is more than one murder on the Nile. They should have called it Deaths on the Nile.
I bet you Russell Brand's one of the ones that gets killed.
Well, David, all I'm going to say is, out of 10, again, it gets a solid 6.
Oh, you gave this a 6? I was expecting like a 4 or a 5.
No, it's not that bad. It's okay.
Didn't you just give the last film a 6? What was the last film we just talked about?
Moonfall. I gave Moonfall 6, yeah.
But you loved Moonfall, and you're saying about this that you didn't like it, and you're still giving it a 6.
I can objectively see how Moonfall is bad, whereas Death on the Nile isn't bad in any way. It's just, it's not as good as its comparable films in the genre, like Knives Out. And the performances are all over the shop, and I don't get the weird thing with the accents. What would you give
Knives Out? What would Knives Out get out of
Knives Out would be a 9 out of 10.
Right, okay.
Because it's clever script, all the actors are brilliant. It keeps you guessing the whole way, and you're actively. It's fairly obvious. You know, there's not really a lot of twists and turns in it, And so many of the actors aren't really given much backstory, bar a basic, you are here because of this. Your motivation potentially for being the murder is this.
I bet you it's a business deal. Something to do with business. It's always to do with business. That's the best reason to kill someone.
Right, well, I can't wait for you to watch the film now, David, and be like, oh yeah, what's her name from Sex Education is really good in this. Put her in all stuff.
No, I wasn't saying
why
that
the
she
accents?
would. No, I think she'd be amazing in it. She's amazing in Sex Education.
Yeah, but mate, she's just, again, night and day, Gal Gadot. Emma McKay, night and day. Right, so yeah, 6 out of 10. Moving on to my last film for recently, David, and I waited 2 weeks to see this, not because I just really wasn't that fussed by the trailers, and I was like, do I really want to go and see this? And it was Uncharted.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I think a lot of people have been like that, and a lot of people have been pleasantly surprised. Are you one of them?
I think I am, David. Yes, I lowered my expectations.
Go on, girl. Tell me about it.
And well, that's what I'm doing. So, Uncharted, starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. This is our long-awaited and much-delayed adaptation of the popular PlayStation franchise. So, David, do you think we finally have a great video game adaptation on our hands here?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I know, but do you think you're going to guess?
No, I'm going to say no because you've been telling me the entire time that there's not one that exists, and I feel like you'd have brought Uncharted up at that point.
What if it was all a swings? What if it was all a cunning ploy so I could go, actually, Uncharted, 10 out of 10, a masterpiece?
Nah, I could guess 7 for this. You're going to give it a 7.
Okay, well, no, you're right, David. Once again, we don't. Oh, yeah, I know. Disappointment, Cheddar. It's once again a perfectly middle of the road.
Been in this podcast more than I have.
Yeah, well, give the people what they want, David. That's
Come
all
on.
I'm saying. Yeah, it's once again, it's a perfectly middle of the road action movie. It's got better than expected banter between Holland and Wahlberg, and not knowing the video games, it feels like they are really slavishly sticking to points from the games with like certain action sequences. And to be honest, I almost skipped this at the cinema purely because I've heard of the middle reviews. And but David, I ventured out in Storm Eunice last Friday for this, and I
braved it.
quite
You
enjoyed
braved
it.
the storm.
And I was like, if I'm going to get killed by a tree to see a film, please.
I can see that. No, there's something quite poetic in that. You braved a storm I can imagine you heroically in slow motion doing all these amazing stunts, avoiding trees. Like recklessly driving in the wind as you're harrowing to see this film, and then you're sitting there and watching the exact same thing that happened on screen.
Yeah, no, none of that happened.
Okay, well,
It was just a bit quieter than normal because big storm outside, and the fact that the film had been out for 2 weeks already anyway. But yeah, do you know what? It was better than I thought. It was still average, but I think Holland and Wahlberg save it. All the other characters are massively underwritten. You got the always great Antonio Banderas. He's given jack shit to do in it. He could have been a really good bad guy if they'd actually given him some character development instead of more than a scene. His chief henchman is actually really good in the brief scene she's got. It's Tati Gabrielle, the young actress from. Did you ever watch the new series of Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yeah.
She was
Sabrina,
yeah, that's it. She was a girl with a really short hair who was the kind of sometimes evil, sometimes not.
Okay. I can't remember
She was very
it
good.
that well.
Okay, well, she was really good in this, and I was watching her, I was like, she just make her the villain. Why have like other villains and like more villains? She got some of the best. Well, she was the best villain in it. But again, there was no semblance of story or backstory or character to her. It could have been a real star-making performance for her, but instead she's just really good in a couple of scenes she gets. Worse thing in it is the anemic relationship between Holland's Nathan Drake and fellow treasure seeker Chloe Sullivan. And I mean, she's played admirably enough by a young actress called Sophia Ali. But this is supposed to be like a romance between these two, right? Yet somehow all we get from their implied romantic relationship is some light banter, and then weirdly them sharing a bed, but with no implication that anything ever happened. Do you know what? Watching it was almost like Zendaya said, Tom, you're not having any love scenes with any other actresses unless it's me and Spider-Man.
It was like for the relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, nah.
I was just like, this would be the bit where like he would kiss the girl in the film, and he doesn't. And then this would be the bit where, and did anything happen? Like there's clearly like a bed, and there's only one bed in the room. But it was almost like going back to the 1940s and the 50s, and like we can have two people in a room in the bed, but one foot must be on the floor. It was just this weird puritanical scene. I was like, I don't get why. I get that they're trying to not set it up as a relationship thing, and again, not knowing the games. I know that in one of the games, because I did a bit of research, that the character Chloe Sullivan is the lead character in one of the spin-off games. But yeah, I just didn't buy any like implied relationship between them. Like you look at something like The Mummy, right? One of your favourites, with the banter between Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
You need that banter. You need that. Indiana Jones with like Harrison Ford and Karen Allen. You need that back and forth where they hate each other and then they don't, and then it's all predictable and it's well done. But it's just really anemic in this, so that annoyed me because they're both great actors. Like the girl was good, she was very good, but she didn't have enough to do. At the end of the day, I think the problem with the film is the script, and it feels like the director simply wanted to recreate scenes from the video games in live action, missing the point that to make a genuinely interesting and entertaining younger Indiana Jones style film, which is what the Uncharted series is, this was not. Having said that, though, David, this film has done the opposite of Moonfall, and it's done very well at the box office. It's made 140 million from a 120 million pound budget in its first week. So I guess it's well on its way to a.
Well, now this film had star power behind it.
Well, it had Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, and let's be honest, not really anyone else. I don't think any of the other actors in the film are on a scale
Mark
enough.
Wahlberg's never. He's been in massive blockbuster films, but he's never been that blockbuster actor, has he? He's always kind of actually flopped when he's been the main blockbuster actor.
Yeah. So I think it shows you that Tom Holland's fan base from Spider-Man is massive, and he can be a star on his own in other stuff now, because this has clearly proved it. And there are 2 mid-credit sequences that I didn't know who any of the people were in it, because I didn't know anything about the video games. But David, they suggest that this is a franchise they want to continue.
Very good.
Okay. And do you know what? As I was watching it, I wasn't bored. No, I wasn't, Cheddar. I wasn't at all. But I honestly can't remember a thing about the film that stands out now I've seen it. So in a way, it is your perfectly bang-average blockbuster that does everything you would expect with Holland and Wahlberg, and it could have been a lot worse. So lower your expectations, turn your brain off, and you'll have a good time.
All right. Well, is it kind of like that Fast and Furious kind of vibe? Like that's what I get from it. It's the Fast and Furious kind of action.
I think it's better than the Fast and Furious ones.
Yeah, they're pretty popular, man.
There's a very big action scene in one of them that is very reminiscent of The Goonies, and that's all I say.
Is it Chunk? Does it have anything to do with Chuck?
No. And it's Chunk.
Yeah,
anyway.
I was going to say, and then you was going to say Captain Chunk.
So, David, last up, I have binge-watched in the last week or so, Reacher. How familiar with Reacher are you?
Not at all. Not read any. Well, I know the show's out, and I've actually watched quite a lot of the clips online without watching any of the show for some reason, just because I'm interested in seeing a massive dude intimidate people and smash people's faces in a bathroom. And some of the intimidation scenes, like with the dog. Like with the dog. But I've not read any of the books. I never actually watched the Tom Cruise Reacher film either, so saved myself from that. He made 2. Yeah. He made 2?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, I saved myself from both of them.
This stars Titans Alan Ritchson, who also made his name in, I think the very first thing he did was an American football comedy show called Blue Mountain State. And he kind of reminded you of like a much bigger Sean William Scott when he was younger. He kind of played that idiotic jock role quite well. And now he's obviously a bit older. And he is a massive man-mountain of a man.
Yeah, he's fucking huge, man. I'd like to see just him stood next to someone like...
Tom Cruise?
Like, yeah, just for the lols, yeah, for that. And maybe like someone like the Mountain from Game of Thrones, just to see the comparison.
Well, anyway, I was just going to say, this is a series for everyone who hated Tom Cruise's portrayal of Jack Reacher on screen in his 2 movies. Now, the weird thing is, I think the first Jack Reacher film that Tom Cruise did was actually quite good, because it was written and directed by Chris McQuarrie, who at that point had done The Usual Suspects and Way of the Gun. And then Way of the Gun hadn't done those too well, and he'd had a bit of trouble getting his next film made. Working with Tom Cruise on that Reacher film actually then led to the Mission Impossible films, which are brilliant and I love, as we've gone over many times. It was a real kind of low budget, gritty, horrible murders in it film. So the first Jack Reacher film was actually quite good. But the problem is, Jack Reacher in all of the books is described as being gigantic, and Tom Cruise is not Jack Reacher, no matter how you shoot him at low angles. Or you make Rosamund Pike lean on a box or sit down in every scene. And the second Jack Reacher film, No Way Back, was, I can't remember a thing about it, and it was, I reckon it's probably one of Tom Cruise's worst films he's ever made, alongside his remake of The Mummy, which was also a steaming pile of horseshit. But although Richardson might not have the screen presence of a Tom Cruise, he's got the screen presence because the dude is massive.
He might not have the screen presence of Tom Cruise, but he literally takes up the entire screen. So
because the dude is massive. And it's funny, I was actually talking to a friend of the show, Charlie Gallagher, about this in the office the other week. And he was not a fan of this show at all. And the more people I've spoken to, the more this show really seems to divide people smack dang in the middle. I think part of the problem with it is that because it sticks so closely and slavishly to the books were written in like the late 90s, I think, the original first book. I mean, dude's up to 26, 27 books in the series now. And I think it needs a bit of updating for the present day, just a little bit. It's supposed to be set in Georgia, but it was filmed in Ontario. So apparently the actors saying they were freezing all the time walking through the fields. What I do like about it is, though, he's not just a man mountain who crushes people and destroys people. I mean, there's a lot of that, but he's actually quite smart. And what I like is there's a running thing from the books where it says Reacher says nothing. A lot of what happens in the books is his internal monologue, which obviously would be really boring on TV. So you have a lot of scenes where all the other characters are doing the talking and you just see him clocking it all. And then he'll do like a Silent Bob bit from Jay and Silent Bob where he just Sherlocks it all out and explains it all. And you're like, oh, shit, son. Because he explains it all out. And you're like, okay, dude's clever as well. And he does that really well. In the show, you got great supporting performances by, again, actors I've never heard of. Willa Fitzgerald plays a young deputy in a town called Roscoe. And yes, that is her first name. And you've got the fish out of water sheriff from Boston called Oscar Finley, who he's taken over in the town and no one likes him. And he's a bit of a stick in the mud. The rest of the cast, really not so much in terms of performance or profile. I've never heard of really the rest of them at all. And it's predictable. That's the problem is, you're watching it going, well, he's the bad guy immediately. Like, first episode, you're like, well, that's going to be the bad guy. And if it's who you think it is, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the action's really good though, right? It's a really weird one to describe, man, because there's things I really like about it, and there's other things I don't like about it. I think the supporting cast are really weak. Also, the big problem is perhaps Richardson isn't the best actor overall. He's good. He does what he needs to do on a tin to be, Jack Reacher. He's big, and he does the best with what he's got, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of women will like this show because, David, they find some excuse every episode for him to take his shirt off.
That's
almost
not
every
just
episode.
For the women now.
I was about to say, I was waiting for you to chip in with that. Yep. Equal opportunities, Giant Richardson.
Wait, what?
I think a problem they're going to have going forward is they adapted the first book this time, whereas the first film didn't adapt the first book. And they're going to kind of skip ahead in the chronology a bit. But every book pretty much ends with him coming into town, beating up the bad guys, probably shagging someone, falling out with some people, solving a murder, and then going on to the next town and doing it all again. Which means it's very unlikely that Roscoe and Oscar are going to be back for season 2, and he'll just go somewhere else and do exactly the same stuff again. And I wonder what the law of returns is going to be on that,
Yeah. It doesn't... I can see why maybe Charlie didn't like it if it's very predictable, the script.
Oh, and it's not just the predictableness of the script, it's the dialogue is super cheesy in places. It's not what I would say is well written, but again, going into it, expecting it to be a certain thing. Like, as I watch it, you hear someone says a cheesy line early on, right? And you're like, he's going to say that to a guy when he kills him later. I bet you money. And, he does all the time. There'll be a line that someone says to someone early on and you're like, that's going to come back later. And they do. And you almost kind of get a little chuckle out of it because it's so predictable. But it does it in an entertaining way. Like, you're never bored watching it. It's only 8 episodes. They're about 45 minutes to 50 at most. Oh, and it's got some great, good old blues guitar music in it because it's supposed to be set in Georgia. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. And again, I'm middle of the road on it, man. So if I had to give it out of 10, it's going to get a 6.
Everything's a 6, man. Everything's a 6 with you today.
I know everything I've seen on my reviews this week has been just above average. Like
Okay.
it's not stuff I go out of my way to watch again, but I was more than entertained in the meantime. Right, well, that's all we had the time for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and we'll be back again soon. See you next time.
Cheddar, say goodbye. Say goodbye. Come on, you've been fucking vocal all throughout. Yeah, I know. Come on, say it. Say goodbye.
We needed roads.